This the research is about fair trade proximity shop in Italy, and to be clear, they are called botteghe, which is mean shop, but I have to name them a few times. So to be clear, when I name botteghe, I mean this particular fair trade proximity shop in Italy. Now, this whole research is developed starting from a bigger research bring on for 3 years from 2020 to 2023 by the Moda Cult Study Center in the Catholic University. And it's a bigger study about the motivation for the conscious consumption. Now, in this framework, we develop a work all together alongside with Altro Mercato, which is the really headquarter of the Botteghe del Mondo, which is mean the botteghe shops are places like physical retail shops when goods developed and created by Altro Mercato are sold, and back in the 70s, the Altro Mercato create this retail, let's say, retail web of botteghe, and basically all the goods there were sold to be fair trade. Now, in this research, a key role is played by the volunteers of the civil service, because the main aim of the project was to teach them social research. And because of the starting of the project was in 2020, a lot of this formation and educational part was made online. So there's also this problem, this menace of the online lesson became a possibility due to the fact that the volunteers have the access on the field. So they are like our eyes and our ears of the research are the volunteers themselves. So it's we developed this research all together with the volunteers. So the role of the volunteers and of this educational idea is to enlarge the knowledge of social science of the volunteers that mostly, but not always, but a lot of time they have like pre-knowledge of social science from university or from the high schools. And that's one of the reasons why they get involved with the fair trade proximity shop. The second one is that they can provide us an access to the field through different eyes. So the eyes of the one directly involved. And the third point we can say is that we managed to build up a research project using a composite team. So developing different methods, both online and offline. Now, as I said a couple of seconds ago, the research was conducted using different research methods, both to use the possibility of the online, the pandemic situation gave to us, and in all the mess it creates, we have the possibility to explore digital interaction, digital consumption, and the formation of a community online related to the fair trade proximity shop. On the other hand, we have the possibility to explore two different time moments, like crucial moments inside the bottega. So during and after the COVID and all the changes that passed by. So mainly we developed ethnography, semi-structured interview, and the ethnography. So the ethnography is both on the teaching and educational part, and both on the analysis, because we choose to explore and study the communicational tool developed by the bottega and fair trade network. Now, the research question was about values and norms that made the purchase within the Solidarity Shop circuit possible, and how it changed in the year and within different generations. And here we managed to target this crucial point and this tension between existence and resistance. There are four main players in this tension, and they are the volunteer, the customers, the physical spaces, so the shop in itself, but also the surrounding of the shop, and also the products. So now, starting from the volunteers, among the different generation of volunteers, the motivation, the ideas are more and more different, and that's something that emerged really well by the ethnographical diaries and the interviews. Back in the days, the volunteers of the fair trade proximity shop are more triggered by political and ethical ideas, and the, let's say, self-esteem and environmental sensibility was not as strong as today. Now there are a couple of verbatim. Unfortunately, they are in Italian. I provide you a translation, but I don't think it works in the same way, unfortunately. Sometimes there's a kind of synergy. There's a kind of learning from each other, so the old learn from the young and vice versa. Sometimes it's a clash. This particular case, the interviewed is talking about white saviorism, which is one of the let's say main critics moved to the volunteers of the proximity shops back in the days. So it's like this idea of helping others from an Eurocentric point of view, which now is pretty old-fashioned, we can say. Talking about the products inside the proximity shop, there are a lot of products from Altro Mercato. But the problem nowadays is that this kind of products can also be found online or in the mainstream distribution and the supermarket and this kind of stuff. So the consumption inside the proximity shop more as in the 80s, in the 70s, is an ethical, a political choice, because you can find the same goods with the same reasons behind in other places. So the customers of the botteghe have changed during the time, and if back in the days was something more about the politics, ethics, and we can say like a fashion, a subculture of fashion consumption. Now it's more about environment. It's more about wealth. So there are a lot of vegans. There are a lot of people searching for proximity products. So maybe from the producers of the nearby territory, and all this kind of stuff that back in the days were totally off the bottega. For example, there are a couple of goods really typical from this period of time, like this white saviorism period of time, and there are bananas, coffee, chocolate, and sugar, all coming from the third world, and all with the fair trade ethos behind them. And this volunteer is describing this lady going inside the store, and she was always buying bananas. But the new volunteer, the young volunteer, is describing her as elegant, dressed in expensive suits, wearing sparkling earrings. So it's like a clash. It's like saying it's non-authentic. It's something based on a construction. It's something that I'm feeling it's weird, it's wrong. The physical spaces of the shop are also crucial, because for many consumers and also for the volunteers, especially for the older generation, the bottega itself is a place to develop a sense of community, to live not only as a shop, as a supermarket can be, but a place that enrich all the neighborhood, that create culture and that create bonds. And that's something that really changed, because there are a lot of new customers and also new volunteers that go there only to work, that, for example, don't follow the social channel and website of their bottega. And there are a lot of older clients that stop going there after the COVID, because they feel a lack of this community online, and they choose to move away to search for other kind of places. So the final part is the community development, and we choose to explore it also by the ethnography. And that's why for 2 years of this research, for an hour and 1 year and a half, mostly all the interaction passed through the online interaction. And we discovered a severe lack of communicative skills from Alto Mercato and from the botteghe, and a big problem like creating a smaller community of super engaged people, and to make feel the others not worth to be involved in. So it's a kind of an elitism developing both online, that on site, on real place, that it's something that it's triggering a lot new consumer and young generation to move away, to choose other places. And that's at this point of the research, it is a huge part of the problem that Alto Mercato is facing right now in Italy, both financially and from the point of relevance in the public discourse. And it's also a part of the problem of the lack of network they have, and of the few possibilities they have to form the volunteers with help from professionals and from university and from other collaboration with different organization. So I'm also I'm also done with this presentation. Thank you so much, and sorry for. I mean, Chiara was more involved into the ethnographical part, so if I missed something, I apologize.
That was great. Thanks very much. I'm quite jealous to see the breadth of your research, you know, to be able to present two very, very interesting presentations back to back like that. Very well done. Are there any questions in the room or at home?
Andrew, maybe just one question, if that's okay. Emma Olahan here. Thanks, Michelle. That was a really nice presentation, especially somebody I'm very enthusiastic about sustainability, and I teach it in a lot of the modules that I do. And even though it's more around supplier and procurement, you know, sustainability, so it's very much around actually looking at, I suppose, some elements that you've looked at, as in where are we sourcing this raw material, and how much are we trying to develop communities and local economic empowerment, right? And it's something I'm very passionate about. What I was interested in is, do you see a follow-up from this research? I mean, is there a stage 2? Can you take this research to another place where you can potentially have a social impact on the ground as a result of this?
I mean, so the research was a part of a bigger research about the consumer behavior in Italy. And it was a 3 years research, and we spend a lot of time because we choose to teach to the volunteers in the alto mercato, and in the botteghe, social science, and it was like a pro bono. It was for free. So we really get involved in this kind of mutual research. So we gain a lot of information from the volunteers, and they gave us a lot of data, a lot of information. I think that one of the possible follow-up is to get more in deep about the ethnographical part and the internet studies, because personally I think that mostly the problem for this particular case, I don't want to be like general, but in this particular case is that there is no form of community that fit to the new generation. So we are losing a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of volunteers. They feel like they are doing things alone, and that's when you give up. I mean, you see a huge problem and you start to thinking, but I'm the only one doing this kind of thing. And so you became frustrated, and it's weaker and weaker your involvement with the sustainability and environment. So we see a lot of people losing interest in this kind of stuff because they lost the sense of community.
So then the potential follow-up is possibly connecting with other similar groups around Europe who might be doing something similar, something like that, is it? Yeah, and connecting them so they see there's a lot of small impacts happening, but in a much bigger scale, you know, territorial wise. So they're not alone, you know, in that sense. But yeah, it's very interesting. I imagine if the disconnect is being sensed in the area where you are with the volunteers, it's being felt obviously in other locations, I imagine as well. It's quite possible that it could be getting felt and they could have the same issue. So it would be interesting to see a potential connection there somewhere. Yeah. Thank you for that. It's a really interesting topic, I must say.
Thank you too.